They're building in the ocean. They say all men shall all be free. It's what's a combination. It's radiation. And they say free men shall fight for me. Just like his mama, he seems to get his pleasure from fame. And the strength, ain't that strange? Very strange, yeah. Like choking toys. Come and see me before you read the voice. Teachers burn the school. He's acting up but speaking
So the ship sailed in the darkness of the night, under cover of night, blacked out long before the strike a few days back. I guess they didn't want us to see it, but some of us did. Everything that's going to happen in the Middle East is planned. It would seem like all of these things are planned because the masters use them for population control, for blood sacrifice, and for profit. Just like you're being used in the LDS Church for profit, and any of these other Jesuit-controlled organizations through their underlings in Freemasonry, guided from above by the European black nobility that migrated over as Khazarian Jews long ago into Central Europe. I guess the world's so much different than most of us thought that it was. In fact, if most of us knew what it really is, it would be very difficult for us to function. And probably suicide rates would go up. So, as false as these exoteric religious teachings are, they keep many people pacified in the false hope that they'll be reunited with loved ones, especially if they follow the vested leaders that the Freemasons put in place in the LDS Church, within the Jehovah's Witness Watchtower organization, within Seventh-day Adventism, and of course in the Mother Church. Oh, let's not forget Scientology either, right? I mean, L. Ron Hubbard was a disciple of Aleister Crowley, just like Anton LaVey was. My, how funny Freemasonry and the OTO, that's Ordo Templi Orientis, where Aleister Crowley mentored both Anton LaVey and L. Ron Hubbard. Amazing how all these occult secret societies connect within Freemasonry. That part about his mother. Is that talking about George Bush and Mother Bush? There's Crowley again. Isn't she probably the illegitimate daughter of Aleister Crowley? Ever looked at any photographs of that? Yeah, life gets really creepy when you start connecting the dots. But they don't want you to connect the dots. That's why they label you as crazy if you do. Because it's easiest to keep people under control if they get them to not do the investigating that'll put them in possession of the facts. So they use social pressure, and the media is just marvelous at getting people to call things that are dangerous for the elite to have known, or that they don't want known. They just label them as conspiracy theory. Of course, the word theory is used to immediately inject doubt into the equation. Every there are very few wasted words on the media. What you think is spontaneous in these interactions and discussions is generally not. It's generally scripted stuff, and sometimes you can see newscaster after newscaster in different areas of the United States, for instance, saying the same things as if they're being spontaneous, but they're scripted. And that's pretty disturbing. That can start blowing your paradigm. That can start blowing your world view. So, I guess the message I wanted to give today is going to be pretty short. I've got to go get some antibiotics. I'm in pretty bad shape. So, I've been coughing up blood and that sort of a thing. And one guy that was, stays, some people stay, spend the night in certain areas that don't have a home, and certain things have been going around, and, it seems to be following the pattern that I've got with some of these others have had. One of them spent 5 days in the ICU. So, I'm actually feeling considerably better today than I was yesterday. I could hardly move, but I had one Z-Pack pill left in my car, and I took that. So I'm gonna have to go down to where shit's affordable, and you don't have to waste hundreds of dollars on some freaking doctor working for the AMA to get stuff that you need. Oh, by the way, Americans, you're just being raped by your pharmaceutical industry, which controls, the doctors and all that stuff. The prices are inflated insanely. Otherwise, they wouldn't sell them for so much cheaper in other countries. Or, I guess if you just get, that RX, whatever, there are apps that could save you a lot of money in the United States. Not going to get it down to where it's going to be aggressive border, but, it is what it is. So, you see so many ex-Mormons squabbling on Facebook about political garbage where you're just being manipulated to the right or to the left in these camps. You've got your folks that turn Christian and they're Republican, then you got your folks that go atheist and follow Zelf on the Shelf and John Dehlin, and Jimmy Snow, all your complete atheist leftist people. And you think that you've broken free, and in part you have, but actually this is a controlled movement. There are people above all these folks that control the flow. There's a demographic change for politics and so forth being made in Utah, and some of these folks they're working for people that are above the church, okay? That's just the way that it goes. Dehlin is one of them, all right? Emerging Photon's got some interesting stuff on, like Dehlin and Mike Norton. You notice most of these people went to BYU or Columbine High, MK Ultra is alive and well, people. People can speak partial truth. They can speak some truths. I can tell you 3 truths and NLP into believing that everything I say is true. Well, I do try to speak the truth. There are other people that use these techniques because your subconscious mind is going to say, oh, I can verify that's true. I can verify that's true. This person's legit. There are reasons why they do that. There's so much that's done to manipulate you in the media by the talking heads that are put in front of you, even on YouTube. Whether they're pro or anti-Mormon, most of these people are part of a controlled agenda to get you to obey your leaders. When they tell you to go get your vaccinations, put your kids in public schools, go to your doctors, the Western medicine guys, they call holistic medicine alternative. What is alternative? Put in your mind. Well, it's the alternative to the norm, to the standard, to the established standard. All of these All these things are designed, these terms are used, they are designed with intent, like from Tavistock Institute on Human Behavior, okay? They are designed to create in your mind certain impressions and ideas so that you will behave. You're still freaking mind controlled, people. So when you're getting on this right versus left stuff, remember that all these guys answer to the Council on Foreign Relations. Donald Trump admitted it himself. He gets his foreign aid, his foreign aid is his foreign policy, from Richard Haas, head of the CFR. Just like you hear Hillary Clinton and Dick Cheney and all these, I got clips in some of my videos on the secret combinations and corporate governance. Watching these people, yeah, I get my, Hillary, so I'm so glad that the council opened this office. It's so much closer. I'll know, it'll be so much more convenient for me to go and get my direction. That's admitting to treason right there. Then again, your nation is not what you think it is. It's just another privately owned plantation. The comprehensive annual financial reports, most people never even know about, let alone read parts of. They're so big for the larger municipalities. They reveal the fact that these are privately owned plantations with international investment, all of them. Your state, your city, your county. Pension fund. I mean, a pension fund probably should do that, right? But should your state? Should they be investing in companies that they're supposed to be regulating, and through other agencies that are obviously also privately owned, just like your prison systems are? When you've got all this intertwining of investment, and you've got block voting through the approximately 200,000 municipal corporations in the United States, with people in key positions to do that voting involved in secretive orders, that's how you establish trends of political correctness in all the ads. Where does this shit come from? Does anybody ever think about where this stuff originates? Is it in the Lucis Trust, in meditation? I mean, where do these things come from? And why does everybody have the same theme? What's politically correct? You just think this spontaneously occurs? No, there are think tanks, and then this is disseminated through, and all the commercial activities done and in advertising and on the media then reflect as normal the new norm. That's how we're manipulated into things. That's how we're manipulated into being patriotic, so we support genocide all over the fucking world, enriching the military-industrial complex and the companies that invested in it, including your city, invested in Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, Martin Marietta, I guess Lockheed Martin now, right? Boeing, 3M, DuPont, Halliburton, Kellogg Brown and Root, a subsidiary of them, Bechtel. All these guys make shitloads of money, and you're paying for it. Because, first of all, when we go to war, we borrow from the privately owned banking system, create money out of nothing. Then they create bonds and sell them. And who buys that shit? The Chinese banks buy it. Not just them, but people buy treasury bonds. And I can guarantee you, America's owned in China in large part. Same thing with our mortgage debt, mortgage-backed securities. Chinese buy shitloads of that stuff. Why do you think we haven't? Yeah. Most people have no idea how economically controlled the United States company is because of the debt that we've got that is owned by other countries, because this country spends so much money. So instantly that money goes to these companies, and then you're paying interest on money that was created out of nothing. Plus there's Also tons of money created out of nothing by the commercial banking system, because when you go to get a mortgage loan, and these guys are doing, on a 5% fractional reserve basis, they created 95% of the money out of nothing. And then there's interest being charged on it. That's why we have inflation. That's why we don't have the dime store. We got the 99-cent store now. There's a reason for that. You can't pay back debts when it's created on debt-based currency. We don't use money anymore. We use debt-based currency. It flows, because that's what happens in maritime paradigm, right? Anyway, Mormons, stop fighting and being Democrats and Republicans. They're both controlled by the Council on Foreign Relations, who in turn answer to the Bilderberg Group, the Committee on 300, the Roundtable Group, and interface with the Royal House of International Affairs in Britain. I mean, you don't have what you think you have here. You are not a free country. All of this manifest destiny doctrine that you were taught in the Book of Mormon is part of the programming that America was getting in the first place, and just accentuated within the Book of Mormon and within Mormonism. All these people that say, your founding fathers were Christians, some of them were, a lot of them were Freemasons, and tell you that the God of Israel, established the United States for divine purposes. Of course, in Mormonism, that goes specifically so that the gospel of Jesus Christ could be restored with religious freedom. Because the Israelite God loves religious freedom, right? Doesn't he? Every time the Israelite God is in control of a situation, people of other faiths are massacred, or hadn't we noticed that? So, divide and conquer, it's called the Hegelian dialectic, okay? And that is what they get people working against each other. They get you distracted with all this dog and pony show bullshit that you've got going on in Washington, and you miss a lot of shit that's taking away, from exercise of some freedom. You don't actually have any rights, because you're chattel property. You don't have rights. The Constitution doesn't apply to most of us. It applies to federal employees, people that live in the District of Columbia and U.S. territories, not to the states. That's why the judges can throw the Constitution out in court. I mean, I've quoted the law, and they're like, I don't care. I'm God here. I don't need the Constitution. And they don't. They're right. They're operating, under Admiralty law, and that's why they got the gold fringe around the flag, people. There are so many things that people just don't understand about the way our society works. And once you do, you realize you don't need to be squabbling in these groups that are pitted against each other to create certain social change and get some legislation done. I mean, you think that you're free. That's why they tell you to go out and vote, because it's mind programs you into believing that you are truly in control, and you're not in control. You're not in control. You'd never get a president of the United States that's not a puppet. And they sold it hard to you on Fox News that Donald Trump was an independent dude, that he couldn't be bought, and all that bullshit. He's a Zionist and always has been. He's part of the elite. And he's in that office to get some shit done. He's very pro-Israel, which means pro-murder and racist. Not because he doesn't let Mexicans across the border, supposedly. That's not, the left is just messing with your head as far as that goes. Yeah, so the people on the right can go, that doesn't mean he's racist. Well, they're right. That doesn't mean he's racist, but he is. Because Zionism is against everyone but the Jewish hierarchy. Political Zionism. That doesn't mean all Jews are bad. The Jews on the lower level were manipulated and used. I mean, they used them as cannon fodder, when they directed this shit over there in Germany. Hitler wasn't on his fucking own. He was working for the elite. Okay? Maybe or maybe not. He's an illegitimate of Mayor Rothschild. Who knows? But the point is, they were financed partially out of the United States with these Jewish bankers, and partially out of Central Europe. That's true. But what he did with these concentration camps and all that business, which gets blown out of, I mean, every murder and every death is horrible, but China has favorite nation trading status with the United States. Mao Zedong wiped out 100 million Chinese. Do we give a shit about that? No. But we're very worried about 11 million, people that they say were killed in German concentration camps that were Jews. That's horrible. However, these people were sacrificed so that the ADL could come into being, the Anti-Defamation League, and so that there would be an excuse to create the state of Rothschild out there called Israel, which has displaced a lot of Palestinian people, and they're probably the second biggest terrorist nation on the earth, second to the United States, and guess who funds them? The United States government and fucking Christians. Because your preachers are telling you, oh, it's God's will. That's bullshit. It's complete bullshit. Do your homework. You're being manipulated to finance murder, to finance genocide all over. And then these people become
refugees. These people become refugees, or many the survivors of the genocide that the United States is taking part in the Middle East and at various times all over the world, and the regime-changing activities they're in. We've got people pouring across the border, and Europe has people pouring across their borders. Germany is ruined, Sweden is pretty much ruined with these people from the Abrahamic cults, from the Muslim venue pouring in there, and ruining these nations. And Americans do have reason to be concerned, but while Democrats scream racism, it's a cultural invasion. It's race and racism and hater. These are all loaded terms that have been created to manipulate people because they have because that's how elite leaders do this, through the Tavistokian process of mass mind programming us so that they can get us to react in certain ways, and they use the media to do that. And right now you have a shift happening in the United States, for instance, and it's not for the better. And while Democrats scream racism, and while Donald Trump is racist, that's it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. Your lives are getting worse because of the murder that's happening, and because of the policies that are allowing America to get even less functional. If all you got to do is look at your cities and look at the homeless problem that is increasing as more and more pressure is put upon the people economically and culturally. So try to avoid the partisan confusion that goes into this. There are real problems, and these guys from the top cause the problems intentionally so that they can introduce solutions which generally make them richer and your lives worse. So please educate yourselves, people. A plain truth, wasn't that Jamie? A plain truth is a good channel to help educate you on some of these things. Regarding the LDS Church, it's pretty much down to like me and Travis Wayne Goodsell's got some good information. I can't say I agree with everything that he says, but he does a lot of good research, and who's really on top of stuff is Emerging Photon, and also take a look at her videos. She's very, very accurate. She says things that you may think are outlandish, but she knows what she's talking about. She's been born and raised on the inside somewhat, and seeing what these occultists are doing. whether it's in Hollywood or nationwide or worldwide. She's a sharp individual and will expose people that you think are your friends and are not. They're manipulators. They're working for people. They're working for the forces above the church. And yeah, Madeline is great with her Galactic Storyteller channel. She hasn't been uploading much lately. It's been like 11 months. She's got a great website with good information on it for a lot of areas in life, because our society is an illusion. You are not in a free country. It was not established by the God of Israel, and the God of Israel is not good. He's a no short of that. Please support this channel. Support my efforts. Support my survival. I'm battling to survive right now. I've got, I think, pneumonia. I'm coughing up blood. I'm weeks late on my car payment. Things are a little difficult right now. But considering where I was, under a sheet for 4 years with a nervous breakdown, and after having been shocked multiple times when they tried to destroy my memory. Anyway, that's another story. Thanks for all your help. Make the effort to share these videos in venues where they're going to get seen. Reddit, Facebook, wherever. And the financial contributions are really helpful and important, because it takes time to do this stuff. It takes research. It takes editing. It takes a lot more time than you see on the screen for a video to get done. And I'm working with capacities that, to function in society that are lessened than what they were before all this shit happened. So, thanks for all your loyalty and support, and please make the efforts to increase your education on this. I'm out.